Hi. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about transfiguration and why transfiguration is such an important key in living here on earth. Why it's important to our our being in harmony, and what exactly it means, and also how we can apply that in our daily life. So transfiguration itself means means beyond, and figure means form. So we're talking about something that is beyond what we can see in form identity. So now we're speaking essence. So when we can tap into, and actually I want to go back a little bit and talk about form. Form ultimately is even an idea of what we can see as the images or pictures in our head is still a form. So when we talk about moving into different relationships with ideas, the construct of the idea embodies still an essence that is an experience that we directly experience within our own universe. So this transfiguration, this being able to connect with the essence of the form, that which is beyond the form itself, that's connected to the transcendental realms, that which is beyond what we even know. And each one of us having a direct experience is us utilizing our own embodied language, what it is that is within our own level of awareness or consciousness here, to be able to describe and articulate to ourselves, first and foremost, what is the experience that we are having, and then that reflection outside of ourselves, to be able to sometimes even almost like a wave, be able to outer, inner, outer, inner, outer, inner, refine a process of self-seeing and self-reflecting to really hone in on the nuances of those frequencies. So we're talking about transfiguration. We're really speaking to seeing in purity. And when I talk about seeing, that sight in transfigure, that beyond, we're really talking about seeing with or through what we can imagine. So moving to a form to initiate, but then dropping the form once we reach it, and really allowing our whatever that is, we're going to call it ourself, but that experience of who we believe ourselves to be and what is beyond ourselves, that the unknown facet that's included, to merge with or blend with this divine, this. And since the unknown factor is indeed such an integral part of our experiencing, this mystery is the teacher. And this mystery allows us to see with newness and refreshness, these spaces that are not known to us until we drop the form and allow something to presence itself be known to us. So transfiguration is seeing then through God's eyes at the world, through its divinity, through its sacredness, through its purity, through in a way, the one who is observing it, in this case, we'll say Courtney is observing the world. When Courtney loses her sense of who Courtney is as the form who Courtney believes Courtney is, she becomes closer to the truth of the reality that is beyond even her knowing. And begins to discover, in a way like reabsorbing the world into her in an unknown way, where the magic actually happens, to greet life through this freshness and to see life in the divine through eyes like a child, in curiosity and discovery. The difference in coming through the world in transfiguration or through bodies of knowledge or awareness, it's useful in a way because there's common language that we've learned throughout millennia. And there's charges within the words of the language of the bodies and structures of knowledge to move into fields of awareness and extract, or even literally move consciousness into these realms to be and navigate within. Is what something that comes to mind is a body of awareness. If I were an artist, how there's and in psychology they also can call these egregors. But in these bodies of knowledge, there is what an artist is, and then there's what an artist would essentially need to discover in a more detailed way to consider one's identity as an artist. So there's a deepening and discovery of, if it happened to be an artist who paints, right? There's different kinds of mediums of painting, and then maybe that, there's oil, there's acrylics, there's watercolor. Then there's different ways of painting, different techniques of painting, and there's different ways of cleaning your mediums, and there's different kinds of canvas or papers that you might need to know, different grains that produce different results. There's all these facets that come to us when we start getting into worlds of egregors or these worlds of knowledge. Yet when we are in the seeking mode and we recognize that we don't know, there's an inner engagement or curiosity that propels us to know that thing. Like, what is that grain? Or, oh, there's different papers, and different papers produce different qualities, or there's different canvas sizes, or starting painting on too big of a canvas, through the experiential piece, leaves me with the feeling of. And so there's different ways we start to experiment and experience within our world that deepens our own inner understanding of ourselves, but also are keys to understanding the universe and how the universe itself is created when we can see the underpinnings of natural law within our own way of creating, or our own way of knowing the universe through our gaze. And these driving factors of self-understanding and this mystery in the seeking, when we reach that place of potentially becoming dull and numb, right? That one who has, in a way, stopped exploring. They've moved from the novice to the expert level in their field, and they become more comfortable within their knowledge base. The youth that moves into midlife, that moves into the elder, there's a different relationship to consciousness within these stages. And the key in these is still to maintain our sharpness so as not to fall asleep, not to become numb, to maintain a curiosity and a joy of the experience of life within whatever stage we're in. Now we're going to move that back to transfiguration. Transfiguration is really key in all of this, because within the unknown, which maintaining our connection with the humility of ourselves as the knower and the not knower, and this movement that happens and is also a stillness, which is a blending of the both, of the known and not known simultaneously. We can create spaces or be in fully embodied spaces of objectivity and subjectivity simultaneously, and gain greater awareness, and at the same time discover the joy and the sacredness of being alive, where we don't fall into the kind of common traps, if you will, of what we might consider being asleep or falling asleep, to the knower that knows, and what we think we know. That if we were to move into, in a way, utilizing polarity to move us back into unity, which is the truth of ourselves, that we could utilize then that I don't know more deeply and move us out of dullness, sleepiness, and back into sharpness of, like, get curious again about even what that sensation is, or what that tool is, or how to perfect even more, get more curious about how to even refine that facet, or how to let go and allow ourselves to be completely, let's say, annihilated. And in annihilation, another way of looking at the same frequency from another perspective might be surrender to the unknown, where a new foundation can arise that becomes known to us, where we keep this childlike awareness of play and creativity, of perceptual play all the time, where we're not stuck in the gravity of the body, of the isness, where we fall asleep, and to transfigure and to be transfigured. To allow ourselves to be in union with the one who transfigures, who sees beyond, who knows beyond, and to live from that place is to see all from beyond form, and to in a way be in constant creation mode. This is to be a creator in the deepest sense of being a creator, because in perceptual freedom, to be embodied in a sensorial awareness and simultaneously be beyond form, yet see form, yet not identify as the form itself, is real freedom. It also allows all forms freedom to be, to experience, to have their own life apart from this life. This is free will in action. It allows each life to show itself as a part of self. Yet, beyond form, it is not a part. It is. And yet the joy of holding and loving and sharing in the intimacy of being in communion with the sacredness of the life unfolding, being experienced as that one life. This is the transfigured life. And living life in a transfigured way transfigures the one, in which it starts with, which is the one as the one. This is not some special ability or capacity. This is a universal reality that we exist in, that is accessible in this here and now as the truth of self. In unity and in separateness, blended together in harmony with itself and in constant discovery of what even that is. Thank you so much for being here with me.